The Pentagon has authorized up to 600 military lawyers to serve as temporary immigration judges. Joining us now to discuss this is political strategist and attorney Gerard Filitti. He's a senior counsel at the Lawfare Project. Good to see you, Gerard, as always. Let me ask you, is there a precedent of using military personnel in judicial roles?
Not really. This is a little bit of an uncharted territory, and part of that has to do with federal laws that might actually get in the way of President Trump achieving his objective. Now, it's a good idea in theory, especially because there is a shortage of immigration lawyers or immigration court judges to work on these deportations. That's been a problem for years, but there are some legal impediments that may actually hinder this from happening.
And can you talk to us about those legal obstacles? And Trump has framed this as a solution to the backlog of roughly 3.5 million cases.
It's certainly a solution and a good one, but he will likely need congressional support in order to get this done. Now, let's take a step back. An immigration law judge works for the Department of Justice. This is a civilian position. It's not an Article 3. It's not a federal court judge. It's not a state court judge. This is an administrative law position within the Department of Justice. So holding and exercising the powers of an immigration judge is what's called a civil office in the executive branch. And there is federal law that prevents active duty military personnel from exercising a civil office while they remain on active duty. So this poses a problem for President Trump because while he can use lawyers that are civilian lawyers in the Department of Defense, for example, he cannot use active duty JAG lawyers to work as immigration judges.
Can you talk to us about whether there is a national security element to this? Could the immigration backlog itself be a national security vulnerability?
It certainly is a national security vulnerability. It is something that Donald Trump has framed as a national security vulnerability for a long time now. And he uses national security concerns for a lot of the deportations that have been brought to the immigration courts. The issue ultimately is not that it's a national security concern, which properly framed it is, but there needs to be an exception in federal law for these national security concerns in order for President Trump to use military lawyers. So until Congress sits down and works with President Trump to provide that exception, the law right now bars him from doing this.
And as well, Gerard, some critics are arguing that the move undermines the integrity of courts. What is your response to that?
It's hard to see how it undermines the integrity of courts. You have very qualified lawyers. JAG lawyers in the Defense Department are among the best and brightest. They are very well experienced. They have a lot of experience with actual trials on both sides, as prosecutors and as defense attorneys. They bring a rich diversity of experience and are perfectly suited to be immigration law judges. And they meet all the qualifications to do that. So there's nothing here that would prevent a military lawyer serving in that capacity from exercising the best judgment and upholding the laws.
But I want to point to an NPR report that says some of the military lawyers will receive around 2 weeks of training to serve as judges. Is that long enough?
It may very well be because, again, we're talking about experienced lawyers. We're talking about lawyers who are familiar with a courtroom because they've argued many cases in one. The lawyers, we know how the courts work. We know what judges do. It's a matter of understanding procedure, which you learn very quickly, and understanding ethical considerations, which, again, there are plenty of books that guide you through ethics considerations. So 2 weeks is plenty of time for an experienced lawyer to become an administrative law judge.
Would you say getting more permanent hires could be a solution as well to address the backlog?
Permanent hires would be a great solution. That requires adding line item items to the adding money to the budget on a line item basis for these positions within the Justice Department. And this is something that no administration has done in recent times. And there is a significant backlog. President Trump wants to use about 600 lawyers from the Defense Department, but even that would not meet the current needs in terms of how many judges are needed. So it would absolutely be essential to get funding for these positions. And this is, again, something that President Trump can work with Congress on for the next budget bill.
But to your point, I want to point to another report. According to PBS, more than 100 immigration judges in the last several months have been either fired, reassigned, or resigned under the current administration. I mean, does that seem to be at odds with the stated goal of reducing backlog?
Well, it looks on its surface as at odds, but you also have to consider why these people were removed from their positions. And the Trump administration's argument has been, quite frankly, that a lot of these judges were not doing their jobs, or that they were exhibiting bias, or that they themselves were the ones who were protracting these procedures, holding them for much longer time than necessary and creating that backlog. So while it may seem counterintuitive that reducing the number of judges is a good thing, if those judges were responsible for the backlog, then you do want them gone.
Okay, one last question. Do you see this going up to the Supreme Court? And if it does, how do you think the judges will decide on this case?
Well, I think President Trump has to act very carefully here. The question on who has standing to bring this to the Supreme Court, right now it's not clear that anyone does. However, if someone goes before a military lawyer who is serving as an immigration judge under Trump's order, that presents a case that will be appealable through the federal courts all the way up to the Supreme Court. And any decisions that are made in that case are likely to be overturned, and the case would have to start all over again. So it behooves the Trump administration to do everything possible to ensure there is sound legal basis for this decision.
Okay, well, Gerard, always great to speak with you. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.